Hello all, welcome to our YouTube channel, The Third Man Musings, and today we'll be reviewing the final team amongst a squad of contenders, which is South Africa. Now, South Africa is an enigma, right? It's been 3 decades, precisely 1992, when they returned from apartheid, and they've had fantastic teams always, right? A squad filled with all rounders and superstars, and with the amount of talent they had, they should have won many World Cups. But the biggest fact is, they've not won a single World Cup till now, either in the 50 over format or the 20 over format. They've just won one Champions Trophy in 1998, and that's about it. So, will this T20 World Cup be any different? Will they be able to break the jinx and win their first T20 World Cup? Remains to be seen. Today, we'll be previewing their squads and discussing their chances. And we'll be pulling up the team on the screen.
So yeah, as Sujay pulls up the team on the screen. So South Africa have a bad history in ICC tournaments, as we discussed. So they don't normally make it to the knockout rounds, and if they do, then they choke in that. So that's why the official chokers tag is with South Africa. But in the last World Cup, I think they were kind of unlucky because they won 4 out of the 5 games and lost out on net run rate. So that's like that's their hard luck all this while. So let's see if this year they can break that jinx. So coming to the squad, one thing we notice here is the number of all-rounders is only one. So South Africa traditionally has had a lot of all-rounders, which gives them very great balance. But this time it's a very specialist squad. So going over the batsmen, it starts with Temba Bavuma, and he's the captain. So he took over the captaincy under difficult circumstances when Quinton de Kock had to be like removed from captaincy for the reasons, and he took up the squad in the middle of the World Cup. I remember he did a fairly good job. So as a leader, there's no doubting his credentials, but as a T20 batsman, there's a lot of question marks on him. And with the rise of Reza Hendricks, there's a problem in the opening situation basically because Quinton de Kock is a fixture,
Right.
and Reza Hendricks has always like been a T20 player. So Temba Bavuma, obviously being a captain, will be starting, and he needs to justify his place. For the captain who's not scoring and not capable of holding a place on his skill, like primary skill, batting or bowling, will always struggle because the team he cannot command the team's respect. So it's going to be a big tournament for Temba Bumrah in terms of his future in the ODI squad as well. So Quinton de Kock, we know, quality batsman, and he has his on and off days, but the day he fires, he will win South Africa some games. And a keeper opening batsman, so that's a brilliant combination. Larry Russo recently came back to South African cricket and has been a revelation since. He scored that amazing century against India in the recently concluded T20 series. So he's in form, and at number 3, a very good enforcer type of batsman. David Miller, that's going to be the X factor because in the last 2-3 years, the kind of form he's had, very few teams have such a player at number 5 and 6 who can provide such great finishing. Henrik Larsson, again, a backup keeper and a fairly decent batsman. So this guy is a constant fixture in the ODI scheme of things. But T20, he's like a backup batsman. So let's see if he gets his chances. Adam Makram, potential captain in the future. I think he's captain earlier also for South Africa. So very good, useful cricketer. We've seen him in the IPL, and he bowls useful off spin. He's a very good middle order batsman. Just needs to be more consistent, I believe. And he's a sure shot fixture again in the middle order. Reza Hendricks, as I discussed, is a good opener and he should ideally be playing, but because of the captain, he will be on the bench to start with. And Tristan Stubbs is the new sensation. He was the highest bid player in the recently concluded auctions for the South African League. They're starting in January, Feb, I believe. So highest paid player for a reason because he's a big hitter of the ball, and even Mumbai Indians has invested in this guy. So clearly there is some talent to be used. So he's just recently broken through, and he's going to be in the lower middle order for the finishing purposes. In the all rounder, we have Wayne Parnell, and earlier we had Pretorius, but he got an injury, so he's out of the squad. Wayne Parnell, again, one of those cricketers who just came back to South Africa, and useful bowler, useful batsman. So they don't have much all rounders to play with actually. So he's going to be the fixed all rounder at number 7. So Sujay, as far as the seamers go, yeah, I like the look of it. How about you?
Yes, Sumit, agreed. Again, in this squad, the stronger suit here you would say is the bowling, right? Because the batting, you can say one or two players stand out, David
Mm.
Miller and Riley Russo and all these
Yeah.
guys. But seamers, there is genuine quality, right?
Hmm.
Starting off with Andrik Nokia, again a very good bowler, right? He can crank it up to pace to the speeds of 145 kilometers per hour to 150, and his
Hmm.
action is so smooth. It doesn't even look like he's exerting any pressure on his body, similar to Harris Roff, right?
Hmm.
So, he's very threatening, and he's troubled batsmen all over the world in the last couple of years. So he's somebody that. South Africa's fortunes will depend on. Marco Jansen, very young and upcoming cricketer. We saw his exploits in the Test series with India, right? Where
Yeah.
when India had told South Africa, when the
Hmm.
ball is swinging, he's a threat, right? Especially he's a left armer who brings the ball into the batsman as well. T20s, his potential is yet to be explored, but he's off to a fine start, and if he harnesses his potential, he becomes a doubly dangerous bowler. Lungi Ngedi, another good bowler, has a lot of height, right? So that height gives him a good bounce factor, and he troubles the batsman with balls that shoot up of a length. Only thing he needs to be wary of is injuries, right? He's very injury prone, so South Africa will have to manage his. Fitness, that is one thing that will need to be looked at. And what can one
Hmm.
say about Rabada, right? Over the
Yeah.
last 4 5 years, this guy has just burst onto the scene and troubled batsmen all over the world, right? And the best part about Rabada is his fitness. He can bowl overs at a
Yeah.
stretch. He has the fitness of a marathon runner, almost.
Yeah.
So that way he has a lot of fitness, and he will spearhead this attack. How Rabada, Ngidi and Norkia balance the overs amongst them will be very interesting to see. So that's on the seamers bit. On the spinners, there are two spinners, both of them left arm spinners, but there is a difference. Shamsi is a Chinaman, so for folks out there who don't know what a Chinaman is, so basically it's a left arm leg spinner, but
Hmm.
there is no term exactly as a leg spinner for left arm bowlers. That's why it's called a Chinaman. Um, so Shamsi is a Chinaman, and he was in very recently on the number one list for T20 bowler. So he's a dangerous bowler, has a good googly, varies his pace. But recently in the T20 competition with India, he didn't do that well. He got hit
Hmm.
by our Indian batsmen. So that is one thing he'll have to work. Against good quality batting, can he keep up six good balls in an over? Because Shamsi has this habit where he suddenly puts in one or two bad balls in an over and
Hmm.
gets
And he
punished, right?
makes a lot of runs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that is something that he'll have to work around. Keshav Maharaj was for a long time South Africa's preferred test spinner, right? But interestingly, over the course of the last year or so, he's found his way into the T20 squad. Another honest bowler, doesn't have a lot of variations per se,
Hmm.
but flights the ball and invites the batsman to go after him, and a very wicket to wicket bowler. So you will rarely see him bowl any loose deliveries, very wicket to wicket. So these two spinners, I don't see them running through a side, but
Yeah.
they'll have to ably support the seamers.
Basically just contain. And Maharaj had a decent series against India in the recently concluded T20 series. So uh, he had a good record, I remember, and Indian batsmen didn't get him away so easily. So traditionally in Australia, the finger spinner does better. So I'm expecting him to start ahead of Shamsi. So as you pulled up the playing 11, so the batting, as we discussed, is pretty sorted. The top six is this as per us. Temba Bavuma will need to fire if he needs to command a place in the side. Otherwise, we might have a case of some unexpected injury happening to the captain and having a potential replacement coming in out of the blue. So let's see if he gets a golfing injury or there's some new sport like football
Yeah.
or something in practice he pulls up.
Yeah.
So that might happen. You don't be surprised if it happens after two games if he doesn't play well.
Yeah,
They
and if it
will.
happens, we called it out first here. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So
So.
yeah, we can predict the injuries because we
Yeah.
knew Green will come in, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was at the expense of somebody else. But English was, yeah, a
Yeah.
logical choice. So
Yeah.
yeah, so your six batsmen are the ones that we discussed. All rounder, yeah. So It's between Parnell and Jansen. Jansen is not actually a proper all-rounder. His batting is still a bit unexplored. It's more like he's a slogger. So, Sujay, who do you prefer out of these two at seven?
I would say rather, though Jansen has a lot of potential, surely a future star in the reckoning. But
Mm-hmm.
given the experience that Parnell has, right? He's been on the ODIs. I think he even played in the 2009 T20 World Cup, if I'm not wrong, right?
Okay.
So, he's now, I think, in his mid 30s, has a lot of experience, has played in leagues around the world. So, for this
Mm-hmm.
particular tournament, I would say Wayne Parnell should be preferred, but Janssen is the future, definitely.
And then coming to the spinners, Maharaj and Shamsi, then again, similar to what India has a problem as, it might be a very long tail if Shamsi plays. So Maharaj bats decently, and traditionally, as I said, in Australia, the finger spinner works better, and he has better control than Shamsi. So maybe in Australia, traditionally, your paces are the ones expected to get the wickets. So the three paces plus Parnell or Jansen will be giving you the breakthroughs, and you need a spinner to tie things up. So Maharaj actually fits perfectly there. So I think he will be starting ahead. And then your paces are, as mentioned, they don't have a many variety in the squad, as I can see. It's
Right.
really like they have stocked too many batsmen, and that is what happens when you have less all-rounders in the squad, right? Too many specialists, and if any injury happens, they'll be in trouble to any of the paces because Nokia just came back from injury, right? So
Right.
things can go wrong for him as well. And then let's see who the replacement is in the reserve. So that's pretty much for the playing 11. It's very settled. And coming to the stumbling blocks, so yeah, Sujay, what would be your
Uh,
first stumbling block?
Stumbling block, I think the glaring thing that anybody can see in the South Africa team is Bauma, right?
Mhm.
That strikes straight away.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, they starting their campaign against Zimbabwe, they should do fine there.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say they get into a situation where they lose to India, right? Then the match against Pakistan becomes a virtual knockout for both
Yeah.
teams, right?
Yeah.
You lose, you're going home straight away. You're boarding that flight back home. So in that particular situation, let's assume Bavuma hasn't struck gold. He, let's
Mm.
say, flops against India, doesn't do well against the minnow teams as well. Will the management take the hard call to drop him? Right?
Yes.
That needs to be seen. Obviously, we cannot explicitly speak about it, but in whenever a South Africa 11 is selected, there are other considerations also to
Um,
be taken
they have
into
the
picture,
quota
right? So
system.
that
Yeah.
also will play a part here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, again, the ICC tournament pressure as well.
Mm.
As we have instated, they have had a history of heartbreaks. Rain, Duckworth Lewis, you name it,
Everything. Yeah.
net
Yeah.
run rate. I mean, all the possible things that you can
Waste.
think of has always, ensured that they've got knocked out. So
Mm-hmm.
this time as well, they have got a good side, no doubt. But again, there are powerhouses like Australia, England, India. Will they be able to sustain the pressure if they get into the knockouts? Don't forget, even Pakistan, I think, could if they have a good day, if they get Miller out,
Mm-hmm.
they could upstage them. So these two things come to my mind immediately. Any other
Mm-hmm.
things that you think, Sumit, is a stumbling block for them?
Same thing. I think in adding to Bavuma, there's a question of Quentin de Kock also, who is not
Mm-hmm.
very consistent. So the openers are a bit iffy as of today, and they need to provide a solid start because 3-4-5 is really good. 3-4-5 is the engine room, and they have
Right,
two left-handers in that, which is very rare. Most of the teams don't have so many left-handers also. These are two
right,
good ball-striking left-handers with
right.
Aiden Markram in the middle to maneuver the strike and hit the odd blow. Tristan Stubbs is a greenhorn, right? He's like a new player and
Untested.
untested. So
Right.
there is going to be pressure. So the batting, if you see, it's 3-4-5. 1 and 2 are suspect in terms of form, and
Mm-hmm.
6 is a new guy. And
Mm-hmm.
Wayne Partner is like a decent player, but I won't say he's going to win you matches from
Correct.
7, right?
He won't set the stage on fire. Yeah.
So
So.
your batting is lacking.
Mm-hmm.
They need to make it up with contributions from all over, and that's where the all-rounders would have helped, but they don't have all-rounders as well. So I see the bowling carrying them through as much as possible, and luck should be on their side.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe then top four is possible. Today the thing is, yeah, whoever was going to lose today in India and Pakistan, the second slot would be then between that team and South Africa. So as you mentioned, Pakistan and South Africa should be battling it out later on,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the ticket to top four. I think
Mm.
they'll handle the minnows very well because of the
Mm.
pace attack they have,
Mm.
and the batting also will do well. So they might be in a knockout situation with Pakistan directly come that
Right,
match.
right. And
So,
Sumit, I see the Pakistan South Africa match in Sydney. We have now
mm,
seen the New Zealand Australia match already happening, right? The first match, it was a belter. New Zealand got
mm,
200 easily.
mm,
Now, when they have 8 overs of spin, how I mean, I am really not confident how they can stop the opposing team with 8 overs of spin, right? And
yeah,
from the squad we see, unless they take a punt and bring Jansen in for Parnell,
hmm,
I mean Parnell again might not bowl 4 overs in all matches, right?
yes,
So
yes, you need Markram
so
for
so
like
there is
two.
a situation where Parnell might get hit as well. So I think that is one thing they would be very concerned about. And if I was in the opposition, I would be relishing the thought of playing 8 overs of spin here against them on flat
Yes,
tracks. Yeah.
yes, yes. They don't have a big spinner also, right?
Right.
So let's see. I don't
Right.
think they can get Maharaj and Shamsi together in the same game
Hmm.
because that would mean they'll have to drop somebody out of 9, 10, 11, or really
Right.
weaken their batting and play 7 Maharaj, 8 and 8, 9, 10, 11 being your pure bowlers. So they'll also have to think based on, and I think
Hmm.
Pakistan's match is a bit later, so by then
Hmm.
things will be settled for them in terms of what they need to do, whether they are
Right.
in a knockout or they are in a good place and they can lose to Pakistan and still qualify. So
Right.
time shall tell that.
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty much it from our side, guys. So that is a review for South Africa,
Hmm.
and I hope you guys enjoyed the analysis. Please let us know if you have any further insights. And now the next video that we'll be doing is directly the review for India versus South Africa on Sunday, wherein we'll be in a better position to know. Because I think after India's win today, we are fairly confident of reaching the top four, as we
Right.
said during our preview. So see you then. And yeah,
Yeah,
Sujay.
yeah, and guys, we look forward to your inputs. I know we have been receiving good feedback, but we would love to hear even more comments on, any thoughts that you have that we may not have covered, and what did you like specifically about what we covered. Right, would love to hear that, and please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. The Third Man Musings, we have covered all the contenders so far, and we look forward to reviewing all the exciting matches now. And let's hope India go ahead further in the tournament and we see an Indian victory. So till then, bye and take care.
Bye bye.